All right, welcome everyone. It's Sunday, Speedrunner Spotlight time. Let's go. Yeah, welcome Void to the stream. Hello.
Yeah. Hello and welcome. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no problem. I'm excited to talk speed running. Good topic as always. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, we can start from the beginning of your journey through speed running here.
Yeah. My journey through speedrunning. It's been it's been an interesting one actually. So my first exposure to speedrunning was I want to say like AGDQ 2013. I remember like watching that here and there live, but never really thinking much of it. And then it was after the fact that I looked up the runs on YouTube, a lot of them, and I just became hooked after that. And it was from that point on that I decided to one day check out the Twitch games directory and try to find games that I played as a kid. One of them was DKC, and I found streamers speedrunning DKC in the directory, and that's basically how it started for me. That was really my first exposure to speedrunning as a whole.
Yeah, so what year did you join Twitch to start watching?
That was 2013,
Oh,
but
it was.
before
Okay.
that, I was mostly on Twitch like in 2012 to watch Magic the Gathering related content.
Mm, I see. All right. So, it's been a good decade of speedrun content.
Yeah, pretty much.
All right. So, yeah, like who were you watching back then that was running the game?
So the first DKC streamer that I found was Peachy. Yeah, she was playing DKC one at the time, but she was also like dabbling in DKC two and whatnot. Like the DKC two community, I only learned of after being exposed to Peachy and the other DKC one runners. Like I don't remember at the time, there was Lepinok, Garrison, and a few others, and it just like from there kind of expanded into me learning about the DKC2 runners, and I learned of Claude, I learned of Reflected, and all of them, and it was mostly in 2014 that I became more focused on DKC2. In 2013, it was really more about DKC1 and just really dipping my toes into the hobby overall, and yeah, just trying to figure out if I was gonna like it and whatnot. Like I did not commit to buying a full like streaming setup or whatnot right away. I was mostly playing on emulator, as I'm sure a lot of us start with, and yeah, I enjoyed it, but like I really wasn't like hard committed to anything at that point. It really like it was mostly like an on and off thing all throughout 2013 and the start of 2014. And I think it was like really summer of 2014 that I took the hobby seriously, and then I really it's like started going hard at DKC2, and I think the next year was when I like really upgraded my setup, my computer setup, so that I could be able to start doing Twitch streams. And I think my first Twitch stream was March of 2015. So there's been like a solid like 2 years of me like just kind of being like a spectator slash passive speedrunner in a way.
So the first speedruns were just like recorded offline.
They were not even recorded, to
Oh,
be
okay. You
honest.
just
Yeah,
for the fun of it, I see.
yeah, basically I was doing the timer thing, and I was like, oh yeah, this is cool, but I didn't feel the need to record it because I was like, I'll, when I'll like feel like I'm good enough and that I'm ready to like share them with the others, then I'll stream them and then share them that way. Like I never really like saw the need to record my runs if I was planning on beating them anyways. Like it's fun for the history of it, I guess, and like the progression purpose. But I was never really interested in that. Like to me, it was really about like the really the improvement, like the overall product.
Mm-hmm.
in a way.
And that's totally fair. So yeah, whatever your approach to speedrunning is works. So that's
Hmm.
what I say. But
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. There's more than one way to speedrun, really.
there's more than 10,000 ways to speedrun.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, it's interesting because it sounds like DKC2 was your first speed game. But
DKC one was my first speed
okay,
game,
you
but
did start
DKC
with
two
one.
was really the one game that hooked me into speedrunning overall. It still
Got
is
it.
to this day my favorite speed game. It's not my favorite game like overall, but it definitely is my favorite game on the Super Nintendo. So like I definitely take great pleasure in speedrunning that game every single time I do so.
Well, it definitely doesn't sound like a hot take. I mean, that's definitely one of the greatest Super Nintendo games, at least from what I've
Hmm.
heard. I'll
Oh
be
yeah.
honest, I haven't played it yet. We'll get there eventually, but
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We all have our never-ending list of casual playthroughs to get through. You know, I
my
get it. I
backlog
have
will
mine as well.
infinitely grow and never get done.
Yup.
I understand that.
Hmm.
But yeah, no, it's definitely on there. But yeah, I know that so I'm not like super familiar with the DKC speedruns, but I know they are like quite ridiculous in terms of execution and the glitches you need to pull off to, go as fast as possible. And there's obviously categories where you don't have to do as absurd stuff. I know like the any percent type deals get a little crazy, but
Yep.
I don't know if it was like that back when you started yet. But
Yeah, so I guess I'll take the example with DKC one, because DKC one is much more broken than DKC two or DKC three, and there are a lot of categories because of that. And like for example, the any percent category for DKC one, the record is like 7.5 minutes or something, but the standard like the longer categories and the ones that really like go through all of the stages without like really using that broken stuff like the main category is all stages for DKC1, and that category is like 30 to 33 minutes long depending on like uh how much you like how good your movement is and what strats you go for. But that category still does have like a lot of big glitches and big skips. It just doesn't have like the broken wrong warp that makes the run 7 minutes long, for example. And if you compare all stages to another category that's called no major skips, then that one is about 40 minutes long. So there's like a good 6, 7, 8 minutes worth of skips and glitches that really like shorten the run of DKC one.
yeah, that sounds like a lot of execution because
Yeah.
you're still beating every level and it's that much time save.
Hmm.
So, yeah,
And
that's
just
very
like the
interesting.
movement overall, like that's really what attracted me to DKC speedruns in general. Like the movement is just really fun and really fluid, and it is punishing because like for example, like DKC one, you do want to play as Diddy for as much as possible because Diddy moves faster than Donkey. So if you take damage with Diddy, then you lose Diddy. So you have to like play as Donkey for like a certain amount of time until you get Diddy back, and like that really can cost you a lot of time depending on where that happens and how it happens. And like you know how it is with unwarranted deaths in speedrunning, like they do cost a lot of time. So in that sense, like it's a pretty punishing speed game at the same time. um the fact that you have those glitches that you want to pull off, but you also want to make sure that you basically don't want to make a single mistake all throughout the course of the run.
Yeah, and when it's half an hour, I mean, that's a lot of work.
Yeah.
So, what's some like good examples of these, unique skips to the game?
Skips for DKC one,
Yeah,
you mean?
we could start with that.
Yeah, so for DKC1, the I would say the main glitch is called the jump roll. So essentially, what the like it's funny because some people do think that like a jump roll is just like okay, you do a roll, which is like the base movement and like the fastest way to move in DKC, and you just jump out of it. But it's not that. So like the way a jump roll is you want to initiate a roll. So like you basically want to press Y. There's like a whole meme in the community that's like press Y to like keep calm and press Y and like that kind of stuff. Like you want to press Y so you initiate a roll, but at the same time as your roll is initiated, you want to be landing on an enemy. So like landing as in bouncing on an enemy. But so because of like how those two conditions need to be met for the glitch to be able to be pulled off, it's not possible to be done everywhere in the game in the run, but there are some locations where it can be done that saves a lot of time because you say like you take a level like Tank Top Trouble, which is a long auto scroller in World 6, like so the run back in the day, when I started running DKC1, the all stages run only had, I think, 3 jump rolls, one of which was in that stage in 6-1, and it's like it's pretty deep into the run, so you would get to that level, and you would need to get the jump roll really at a high level if you want a PB because that jump roll saved like 45 seconds, and it still does save that amount of time nowadays. But the thing is, like, we didn't know how easy we had it back in the day because now the jump roll amount went from like 3 to like 7 or 8. So you have a lot of frame perfect tricks because it's a frame perfect trick. I forgot to mention that
I
you
figured.
really want to be initiating the roll and landing on the enemy on the exact same frame. And because of the way it works in DKC, if you kill an enemy, then that enemy is gone for the remainder of the level. So you really only have one attempt at those glitches. So it's just another like very punishing angle and of the game and the speedrun overall, and it just like adds a whole layer of inconsistency to it.
Are there any like subpixel shenanigans involved, or is it just if you hit this frame perfect, you're good?
If you hit usually if you hit the jump roll, yeah, you're good. You're basically gonna be like flying across the level horizontally. But I can't remember off the top of my head if there is subpixel stuff in DKC1. I know there is in DKC2, albeit pretty minor stuff. There's nothing like major that's reliant on subpixels, basically.
Must be nice. For
Must be
them.
nice, yeah. It's like I know some games really don't have it like that.
But yeah, so it sounds like this trick you executed and then you just fly to the end in a straight line.
Yep. You're in a straight line, but you do lose a bit of height. You lose like 1 pixel of height for every like 4 or 5 seconds you're in that state. But it
Mm.
usually ends up not mattering because the DKC levels are basically like most of them, if not all of them, are horizontal. They're very horizontal levels, whereas DKC 2 and 3 have a lot more vertical levels. So the jump roll definitely has a lot of utility and applications in DKC 1. So, like I was mentioning, you have that stage, Tanked Up Trouble, a long auto scroller, horizontal auto scroller. So you nail the jump roll and you save a bunch of time. Obviously, the jump roll cannot be executed everywhere and also wouldn't be useful in every level, but it's just so happens that like for that level specifically it like saves a ton of time.
Yeah, you need the enemy, and then I guess the exit has to line up to where you're going.
Hmm.
So,
Pretty much, otherwise you like you can get out of the trick after hitting it, but yeah, like, you really want to maximize the amount of time you're into that jump roll state.
and out of curiosity, how much faster? or is he moving in that state, or is it like the same, but you can like just clip through things, which makes it
It's
interesting?
it would be rolling speed. So the way the movement works in DKC is you gain speed depending on how many enemies you roll through. So and also like you move faster when you're rolling compared to when you're running. So if you do pull off the jump roll, you would be at rolling speed for as long as you remain in jump roll state. So it would be much faster than just running, I
Yeah,
guess, running across a level.
yeah, you're essentially just at max speed all the way,
Yeah,
and
pretty
then don't have to
much.
worry about
You're,
anything
you're not
else.
you're not like max speed. Like I think your speed gets maxed after you roll through like four enemies or something with Diddy Kong. But yeah,
Mm,
you do save a bunch of time.
got it.
Absolutely.
As long as it's faster than running.
Oh yeah. Anything is faster than running.
Got it. Yep. Any other big skips or tricks talk about?
There's one actually. I'm sure a lot of people have pulled that trick off as a kid, but it's called map warp. So in the first world, you have those corners on the overworld, then they're exclusive to the first world of DKC one. And if you only have one sprite moving on the overworld, you can actually press either a face button or start on your controller when your sprite is moving right above that corner, and if you do it on the right frame, you're gonna be warped to uh so there are four corners. Three of them will send you to Orangutan Gang, which is a level in World 3. And the
Hmm.
all stages run basically plays all the stages up until that stage, Orangutan Gang, then backtracks to World 1 to do that map warp trick, which will put them in Orangutan Gang like late in the level, and then you can finish the level, and it still saves like 17 seconds or something ridiculous like that, despite the fact that you have to do all of this backtracking.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Is
that's
that
like
a
it's a
glitch?
pretty iconic trick. It's like I want to say it's like the most well known glitch of DKC one, because like I said, I feel like a lot of people pulled that off as kids. It's just like
Hmm.
a very easy glitch to stumble into when you're like playing.
That's just a fascinating like result of a glitch. Just push
Mm,
this button, and all of a sudden you're at the end of a random stage.
yeah. Well, so the way it works, to go a little deeper into it, is
Yeah.
that basically those corners you will stop moving when you're over them for one frame, and when you're not moving on the overworld, the game thinks that you're on a location that can be entered, basically. So that's how it
Hmm.
works, and it just so happens that they will send you to that stage. Why do they send you to that stage? I don't really know, but they do send you to that stage. Three of them do, and they all send you to a different location also, which is pretty interesting.
Hmm.
So we just grab the corner that sends you the closest to the exit.
That makes logical sense.
Yeah.
Not the glitch, but how you
And they're
abuse
not
it.
like, I guess I should also mention, like, they're not like random locations. Like they're locations that normally when you're playing through a Orangutan Gang, you have those bonus rooms, and like those bonus rooms, when you're leaving them, they would put you in those same locations
Hmm.
as
Okay.
the map warp corners. So it's like they like in the game's code, like the map warp corners are also associated with the same exits as the O gang bonuses. But why is that? I don't really know. It just so happens that it works that way.
Yeah, that's a really funny glitch to just
Yeah.
exist. What's the other corner do?
The other corner sends you to the second stage in the run, so
Oh,
it's really
okay.
not useful.
It's just funny that it does that, though, I guess.
Yeah.
What a
It's like
fascinating glitch.
you have four corners total, and three of them send you to that stage, and the fourth one is like the unwanted child in the family or whatever.
Wow. Old games are funny.
Yeah, yeah. And like to extrapolate a little bit on that, like old games are funny. Yeah, like DKC 1 is a linear game, you know, like level by level, but you can actually beat the bosses in the opposite order that they
Hmm.
show into. So that, like, I remember, like, we figured out the wrong warps and the glitches that were required for that. Like the missing piece we figured out in like 2017 or something like that, and then we went to work in routing that category, and it just, you know, it's just like a beautiful broken mess. But the fact that it works is incredible, because I don't think there are a lot of games out there that you can, you know, linear games level by level that you can break to the point where you can like fight the bosses in the reverse order that they appear in.
Yeah. The only game I can think of where you do that off the top of my head is Super Metroid, and that's not linear. So
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
interesting.
exactly. You can do that in Super Metroid, and you can do that in Link to the Past as well. But also,
Hmm.
Link to the Past is also not a
Yeah,
linear
not
game,
linear.
so
Wow. Yeah, that is not something you see often.
yeah, it's a very cool thing. It's too bad that it does, like, it's not a thing in DKC 2 or DKC 3, because in those two games we don't have wrong warps that send you to other worlds, but in DKC 1 we do. So that really just like takes complete advantage of that.
So does the any percent for DKC 1 involve that corner warp, or is it like this whole other thing that sends you close to the
It
end?
does. It does. Yeah. So the any percent run for DKC 1, like, it's 7.5 minutes of like basically nothing but glitches. So you want to like set up a glitch at the start of the run, and then you use that corner that I was mentioning, map warp, to
Hmm.
go to Orangutan Gang, and from Orangutan Gang you can do a wrong warp that will send you from World 3 to World 6. And once you're in World 6, then you can just beat the game roughly the same way as you would in an all stages run. But it's really like getting there that's the in a sense what any percent is about.
Yeah, you know what? It's kind of like Mario 1, where you go from World 1 to World 4, and then World 4 to World 8, and then just beat World 8.
Yep. Yep.
Just
Those are
those were
intended
intended,
skips, but
yes.
hmm
Of course, but we find your
but
ways.
yeah, it's an interesting comparison for sure. I like it.
uh how does like the wrong warp to World 6 work?
Oh, that's that would be pretty complex, but essentially we do a glitch. We do two glitches. The first one, the way we set it up, allows us to control both Kongs, like both Diddy and Donkey. You would control them both at the same time. And the second one involves creating an invisible object. So you would
Mm,
use that invisible object to open up a bonus room. And from that bonus room, you would get a DK barrel that is in that bonus room, and by breaking the DK barrel, you would go from one Kong to two Kongs. But like, now that you control both of them, you want to break the DK barrel in a specific way that will make it so that both your Kongs leave the bonus at the same time, which is also frame perfect. And
mm.
if you can do that, then that's when the wrong warp sends you to World 6. But if you do mess that up, you can either wrong warp back to 1-1, which is pretty bad, or you can crash your game, which is even worse.
I see. So make it or break it, you better hit the frame perfect. I see.
Yep, basically. Fortunately, there's a very consistent setup to get that frame perfect DK barrel break. But now I've been doing 90% runs recently on my stream, and I'm just going ham whenever I go for whenever I'm in that bonus and I go for that DK barrel break. I just like try to maximize how fast I do it. So I just like land on the thing, unlock the DK barrel, and then like grab the DK barrel and instantly throw it. And I'm like just hoping and praying that I'm on the right spot. And if I am, then great. But you know, that's really what you got to do at some point to maximize your savings in such a short category.
I was gonna say at this point, like runs as short as that, like there's no room for error. You have to just go ham.
Yep, you just got to go and go for all the stuff. It's like SMB1 once again.
Yeah, don't I know it? So I guess we can move on to some of the DKC2 stuff now because it sounds like That game also broken, but maybe not quite in the same way. Doesn't sound like you can just skip to the end of the game.
Yeah, you can skip to the end of the game, but you do have those wrong warps as well in DKC2. They don't obviously work the same as in DKC1, but in DKC2 you can do a wrong warp, and the way it works is you use the invisible object to either move bonus barrels or change values and make the bonus barrels or the alternate exits, however you want to, like whatever you're using to do the wrong warp, you make those values change, and by doing that and then answering the alternate exit or the bonus barrel, you trigger a failsafe in the game that will put you on the overworld, and by doing that you will have the path to the next level unlocked. And it's really weird the way it works, because so wrong warps in DKC2, you if you were to do like that invisible object method on the 1.0 version and then do like the wrong warp the same way I described it on 1.0, the game would just crash.
Hmm.
But you do them on 1.1 and the result that I described happens. So the runs are done on 1.1 because of that. And it's really interesting. It's like the devs knew about that glitch, and they like patched in this failsafe thing to like prevent the game from crashing. But we as the speedrunners take full advantage of that.
So it sounds like like in simple terms, it's just beating the level early because it takes you to the map and then you continue.
Yeah, you could say that. It doesn't technically beat the level, because if you were to re-enter the level, you would not be able to, like, you know how you can enter a stage, and then you can start select out of the stage to
Oh yeah,
like
like Mario
yeah,
World.
yeah, if you make a mistake or whatever, like you can't do that. Like the game does not give you credit for beating the stage if you do the wrong warp. But it
I
just
see.
so happens that it does trigger that fail safe, but it unlocks the path to the next level. So that's why I'm saying like it doesn't really beat the stage,
I
but it
see.
does make you progress through. So
Okay. Yeah, that makes a lot more sense. So
yeah.
yeah, what else does that game have to offer?
So yeah, wrong warps. There are definitely like a bunch of clips that you can do. Like Vine clip is a pretty notable one in World 3. Um, there's a lot of a lot of team throw super jumping, because DKC2 has introduced that team throwing mechanic or teaming up mechanic, and that also can be abused pretty heavily, especially throughout the 80% run. And yeah, just overall, like the the balance between the amount of glitches that save a lot of time but are also like very tough to pull off execution wise, and just like the raw movement and optimizing of DKC2, like, and that you have those two things, and you combine that on top with like really not a whole lot of RNG and variance. Like there's luck on the first boss, and that's like there's a lot of luck on the first boss, and then after that there's like a little bit of luck on like the fifth boss of the run. But other than that, like there really isn't anything else RNG wise. So it just makes for like a really good speed game. It's like the perfect balance of everything, in my opinion.
Yeah, as an RNG hater, that sounds pretty good.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, obviously, the first boss will you ruin your day or your speedrun session, or like sometimes, but it is what it is. It's like the price to pay, I guess. Like one day you'll just like try to get runs going, and then you won't be able to get past the first boss because the first boss will give you crap RNG all day. That
Oh,
is like if you obviously like go for a really optimized time, or like a world record level or whatever.
hmm. What are the odds of getting the luck you need to continue a run?
Uh, so it's funny because the crow fake egg RNG is still like it's still like not fully understood. Like it's a very it's a very interesting point of discussion in the community. I want to say, like, I've heard that, like, if you get like either no fakes or one fake, it's like a 50% chance. So it should be not bad on paper, but then in practice, you would like get like, you know, 4 fakes, five, and above, and like when each fake egg that you get loses you like 2 or 3 seconds, then it adds up pretty quickly. But technically it's supposed to be like a coin flip to get either no fakes or only one fake, which would be like like a 3 second or 2 second time loss depending on when you get it.
Hmm. And those 3 seconds are the world at this point, I guess. So.
Well, I wouldn't necessarily say that, but like some people like really like put a lot of stock into like getting good crow RNG, I guess.
Hmm.
But like obviously, like one between 1 and 0 is fine, but like between 1 and like 4, for example, like it starts getting pretty bad,
Hmm. Yeah. So.
especially with how hard the game is to run overall.
Oh yeah. Um. So it's not just a 50-50 to, get the perfect RNG. How many like eggs, I guess? Again, I don't know the game very well, so how many of those
Mm-hmm.
do you need to finish the boss off?
So you need 4 hits,
Okay.
but the first 2 hits don't have any RNG to them, so it's only the last two.
Okay. So it's like a
Yeah,
two coin flips essentially to get the
yeah,
perfect like,
essentially, yeah. That's
quote
one way to
unquote.
look at it.
Got it. Yeah, that definitely doesn't sound too bad on paper, but I can imagine maybe not in practice.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
but yeah. All
When
right.
it's been like, you know, half an hour of crow resets, it definitely like starts bringing you down morale wise.
Yeah, I can imagine that. That's how RNG goes sometimes.
Yep,
Especially more
that's
optimized games. It's just like, yep, here we go.
yep. That's just the nature of the beast.
Yep. So what pulled you into this game when you started? Because you started with one and then like really got pulled into two, it sounds like.
Yeah, so one was like I enjoyed running one, but like I back then I wasn't taking speedrunning that seriously. It was mostly like a side thing. And it was when I tried out two that I was like, okay, this game is pretty sick, and I just would really like to go hard on it, and that's essentially how it went. Like I played the DKC games a lot as a kid. Like I have fond memories of them, and I don't know if like I was planning on running two when I picked up one, but it just so happened that I wanted to try it, and I did. And when I tried DKC two, then I just really got hooked. That was like the beginning truly of the speedrun grind in a sense, because like I didn't really have like lofty goals or anything when it came to DKC one speedrunning, but when I started running DKC two, I was like, okay, I really enjoy this. Like, let me see really how low I can take that, and just like little by little. Like, I didn't really have like, okay, I want to hit like this time and then I'll be done or whatever. I just like I was hitting that time and I was like, okay, let me like keep going lower than that, and just like you know one PB after the next, and then you end up in world record contention.
Hmm. Yeah, so how long did it take to get in world record contention?
Uh, I'm trying to think. So when I started streaming runs, so like I mentioned earlier that like I would play a lot offline, and then one at some point I got to the point where I was like, okay, I'm ready to like start streaming and show off those runs to the people and really like get myself involved with the community. I think the record at the time in DKC2 was like a 40, like a mid 40, like 40:37, I want to say was the record. And I had like a high 41 when I started streaming. So I was like close, but I wasn't quite there yet. And I think I started streaming in March, Yeah, March of 2015, and I ended up getting the record 3 months after.
Hmm.
So June of 2015, I was able to get the DKC2 world record in any percent.
And what was that time?
It was 40:35.
All right.
Hmm.
So first world record,
Yep, pretty much.
and then
Well,
many
the
more
first
from
of
there.
many.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, just going down the timeline, what did you do from that point onward?
From that point onward, I'm trying to like remember. Like I know I like had tried out other categories before getting record. Like I think like in May of that year, I was trying out other categories. Like I think I told myself I would get to a certain goal time and then try out other DKC2 categories to see if like I enjoyed the other categories that that game had to offer. And after trying them, I came back to 20%, and then that's when I got a record. And from getting record, I think I just like kept pushing it, but like it was like not that long after I hit the record, like glitches started, like new skips basically started appearing, and then they would just get included in the runs, not only mine but everybody else's, and it just like kept my interest for the game going, because like there was always new things to try out in the run and like new ways to make the run faster, and that was just like another really cool thing that I enjoyed about running DKC2 and just like speedrunning as a whole. Like that really kept the game fresh to me. If like those glitches didn't really came to be, like I probably would have lost interest like shortly after hitting world record or whatever goal time I was shooting for back then.
Hmm. So just perfect timing, it sounds like.
Yeah, yeah. Because I think I went from 40:35 to like a 40:24 after that, and then a 40:17, and that's when that glitch got discovered. I think it was like a new wrong warp, but it was not like the same kind of wrong warp that already existed in DKC2. It was like a different kind of wrong warp, and so just like sciencing that out and then just trying it out and including it in the run in a consistent way took like quite a bit of work from the community as a whole, and yeah, it was just like an exciting time for sure.
Hmm. And how much did that wrong warp save?
When it was all said and done, I think it saved like 22 seconds.
Oh, so it made sub 40 possible.
It made sub 40 possible. Yeah, there
That's what
was
we
like
like to
talk
hear.
before that wrong warp happened that like okay, is sub 40 possible? And then when that wrong warp happened, it was like yeah, like sub 40 is possible. And then it was like off to the races, and I was able to get the first sub 40.
What was the time of that first sub 40?
Uh, it might have been like straight up a 39:59 or whatever. I don't
Perfect.
remember exactly,
Can't
but
rate it
hey,
any better.
yeah, we made it. You know.
It's all, it's all you need. One frame. It's all you need.
Yup.
Yeah. Well, yeah. It just sounds like the perfect time to have all those glitches discovered because having new stuff to add to the run is a great motivator to just keep doing what you're doing. So,
Yeah, absolutely.
but yeah. How big was the community back then?
Uh, maybe like a dozen or so runners, like active runners. Well,
It's a good
I
amount.
say like back then, that was like 2015, but like late 2015, early 2016. I'm trying to like exactly remember the timeline when that glitch that I'm talking about got discovered. But before, like I want to say maybe like a dozen across like all three DKC games. Like when I started like peeking around, so maybe like 2014, and I want to say that like the community like grew a lot after HDQ 2014, because HDQ 2014 had all three DKC games
Oh,
into the
nice.
marathon. So it had DKC won 101%, which is the completion category of that game. Then it had DKC 2 any%, and it also had DKC 3 any%. And I want to say like from there, a lot of people really like garnered interest in the DKC games and started learning and playing, and the community grew from there, which is always nice. Like the community always gets new people. Like it gets new people on the regular nowadays, but it wouldn't be what it is now without what it was back then.
Hmm. Yeah, that was one of the big GDQs as well. First million, I
Hmm.
think. So yeah, a lot of eyes on that one. So.
Yeah, yeah. I remember watching basically the whole thing. That whole GDQ. I remember. I was glued to my screen the whole time.
Hmm. Yeah, sounds like a lot of
Like,
people
like the
were.
first like the first few GDQs, I remember I was just like watching a lot of the runs. Like even the runs from the games that I had never played or like didn't really know much of them. I would just watch them because I was just so interested in the hobby at the time.
Yeah, I've definitely, especially during like COVID, if a event came on, I just have it in the back, like my TV the entire time, and just look over and be like, "What am I looking at?"
Yep.
But yeah, that's the fun of it though, because any video game at all, usually you can do something with. So there's hundreds of thousands of those to choose from. So
Yeah, exactly.
have fun with that. But
Good
uh,
good amount of gaming to be done and to be watched.
of course. And so what were some of the like other categories? You were talking about like trying out some of the other ones. So what kind of categories were there to offered back then?
Yeah, the main one I was interested in was 102%, which is the completion category for DKC2. So there's like this it's like I guess funny template where like you have DKC1 and the completion category is 101%, DKC2 it's 102%, DKC3 it's 103.
Hmm.
And yeah, I was interested by 102 for two reasons. The first one was yeah, it was a different category and it just like required a different not not necessarily like a different skill set, but you needed like much more consistency because the category was longer and was also like different ways of doing certain sections because you had to take detours for bonuses and just like optimizing bonuses was a whole other thing. And yeah, that really made the category appealing to me. And the second reason was that back then that category was really not that popular. Like any percent was the main focus. Like you could check the leaderboards for any percent. Leaderboards for any percent had like I want to say like at least 30, 40, maybe even like 50 entrants. Like a lot of people had times in DKC2, but like for 1 or 2%, there was maybe like 10 at that. Like I don't even remember, but I don't think when I looked up the leaderboards for 1 or 2% in the first place, there were more than 10 runners, 10 runs on those leaderboards. And so there was like a lot of untapped potential there that like I saw that I was interested in, and it just like uh, it really like piqued my curiosity in that way because like since not a lot of work had been done for that category, it was really like a lot about exploring what you could do and how you could do certain things and how you could maximize the savings. Like basically just routing an entirely new game from scratch that but except that you had already experience with that game, so it was not like entirely from scratch, but it was more like rebranding the knowledge that you have and applying it to something else. And that was another thing that interested me.
Hmm. Now, just out of curiosity, are like the game's completions like actually like 101, 102, 103 in game?
Yeah.
Why? I mean, I get the funny of it after like 101, but why even 101? I've never really understood why games do that.
Yeah, yeah. So I think DKC1 did 101 because in DKC1 there is a secret bonus that's hidden within a bonus. So I want to say that was
Mm,
like the 101th percent.
I see.
And when I guess when they dev DKC2, then they just were like, okay, well, we had 102% or 101% for DKC1. We'll do 102% for DKC2, even though like there's no such thing as a hidden bonus within a bonus in DKC2. I think they
Uh,
just like tried to apply the naming convention that they came up with accidentally in DKC 1 to the other DKCs.
I
So
see.
that's kind of a fun little thing.
Hmm. It's interesting that they would keep the naming convention, except it doesn't have like a seat, like a bonus after the bonus.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
what, 102 just means 100, I
Yep.
guess. Okay.
Pretty much.
So what if you get 100 and you think you're done, but you're not done?
Well, skill issue, I guess.
All right, fair enough. So yeah,
I don't even know if it's possible, honestly, because like you go from like 97 to 102.
oh, okay. Maybe they
Yeah.
made maybe 102 just means 100, but they just made it
Yeah, yeah,
102 for the
exactly.
meme. All right. You know what? Fair enough.
Mhm.
I respect it. So yeah, any other categories you were trying out around then?
I think it was mostly 102, but there were like a couple others. There was True Ending, and there was also Warpless. But I only took interest in those later on when I was already like well versed 90% and 102, and I had record in both categories. And I was like, you know what, like let me try those categories out, the ones that I haven't tried out yet, and see if I can do something with them. And yeah, because like all four of those categories are considered main categories for the leaderboards of DKC 2, and I was interested to see if I could like get record in all four categories, and at some point I did, and I thought that was pretty cool. But that it was never like the main goal. It was just like a cool thing to like have achieved in a way. Just like, oh, like those categories needed love, and I'm happy to have given them that kind of recognition.
Yep. So moving on in the timeline, I guess. Where are we? Like late 2015, 2016, maybe?
At this point, I want to say we're like either at some point in 2016 or in 2017.
Got it.
2017 was so like my first GDQ that I got in was a GDQ 2016, and I was
Oh,
doing 102% for it. 102% had never been featured at a GDQ before, so that was very nice. I was pretty happy about that submission, and
hmm.
I think SGDQ 16, I was doing DKC 3. I did a DKC 3 race with my man Blonde Bunny, and so I think at some point in 2016 I picked up DKC 3, like either during in 2016 or like late 2015 is when I picked up DKC 3. But yeah, so we did that for SGDQ 16, and AGDQ 17 was the big trilogy relay race. Like we had
Ooh,
9 runners, and that was pretty
whoa.
awesome. So like 3 runners for each of the DKC games.
Okay, so it was like a three-way race with teams of three.
Yep.
That's really
I think
cool.
the Mario community did something like that.
Yeah, HDQ 2017, it was the Mario Warpless Relay. It was that, but I guess 15? There were 5 games, right? Yeah.
5 games and 3 teams, right?
Yeah. I mean, I wasn't around yet, so
Oh, okay,
uh,
okay, yeah.
but I've definitely like looked back at historical archives.
Hmm.
I'll say
The lore, you've
the
educated
lore,
yourself.
of course. I mean, what got me into speedrunning was like a world record progression video. So it's like, I
Oh,
care
there you
about the
go.
progression. I gotta
Was
know.
it one of the summoning salt ones?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, the Mario one, the original, which was like his second video ever or whatever with that
Yeah,
series. Yeah, that got me into it in 2017, and here I am.
nice.
So, and
That's good lore.
it is good lore. A lot of people have actually like, well, especially nowadays because content on speedrunning is everywhere, so it draws in a lot more
Hmm.
people. But
Yeah,
yeah, a lot of people like joined from you know maybe Salt's content or the couple other content creators from back then because there weren't a lot
yeah,
back then. So it's
yeah.
cool that it worked out that way. But
Yeah, and it's funny you mentioned that because, like, yeah, like back then, the content in speedrunning was very untapped, and
mm,
now it's very very out there, very present,
Very
and
tapped.
yeah, very tapped now. A lot of people are very successful on YouTube that I know of that make good spearing content. So,
Yeah. And the great thing is there's still untapped potential. Like
yep,
there could be a ton more content, but yeah, the fact that there's so much now is good for me at least. Like
yeah,
I'll watch it
like
at least.
yeah, exactly. Like I would love to make good spearing content on YouTube, but like I don't want to split my focus too much from my stream. You know, like I like
Yeah, yeah.
my main revenue right now is definitely from the stream and from Twitch, and like I feel like if I were to sacrifice some of that to like try to have more time for the YouTube content, because like I've definitely dipped my toes into making speedrun related content on YouTube, and like it's fun, it's fine, but like I just wasn't getting the views or the traction to really like try to push it hard in that direction. So I was just mostly like doing it for fun and like seeing where it would bring me kind of thing, you know, and see if like I would get significant growth from that. But it never really took off. So I was more like, okay, I'll keep it as a side thing kind of thing, but really like still keep my focus on Twitch. And it's always like there, you know, I
Mm.
had it in the back pocket kind of thing. Like like whenever I get an idea for a video, I do it. But other than that, like I don't really like put more time than I need to in the content creation on YouTube, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair. Uh got to do what, works out best. And
Mm,
yeah, I mean, you can always treat whatever as a hobby, so,
yeah, yeah.
so it all
Just
works out.
it also like requires a different skill set than
Oh,
the one that you need for streaming. So
very different. Yeah.
mm,
They are not the same at all.
yeah,
um but yeah, going back to 2016. So AGQ 2016 was your first event that you got into?
yep,
Okay. Was that the first event you went to as well?
it was, yeah.
Well, that's neat, and then immediately got in again.
Yeah, yeah.
That's funny.
Like I consider myself very lucky. Like there was a point where I think it was like up until maybe 2022. Yeah, 2022. That like every single GDQ that I applied runs to or that I submitted runs to, I would get in. So yeah, definitely
Since
definitely very
2016?
fortunate. Yeah, from 2016. Like I didn't apply to like
Wow.
every single
Oh,
GDQ
okay.
because like
Got it.
I was mostly like an AGDQ main.
Okay, okay.
You know, living where I live, like flights to GDQs are pretty expensive, especially SGDQs. So I only
Mhm.
attended like SGDQ 16 and 19, but AGDQs I attended until COVID hit, and
Got it.
then when the restrictions loosened up, I attended the one this year earlier. So
Mm, got it. So you said at SGQ 2016 you did DKC3, which means you had to have started that at some point. We didn't really go over that game yet, so.
yeah, yeah. So I want to say like it was either late 15 or early 16 that I started putting work into DKC3, and it was like it was a few of us. It's like DKC3 was like garnering interest in the community like quite a bit at the same time by a lot of people. So it was kind of like the right time for a race, and also like there was a new glitch that had been discovered like fairly recently.
Hmm. I feel like I don't hear that game talked about as much as the other two.
Mm-hmm. This
Hmm.
game, that DKC3 is really good in my opinion. It just like had to live its whole life basically in DKC2's shadow. So like it constantly keeps it constantly gets compared to DKC2, but I think it has a lot of merit to it. Like in my opinion, I think it's better than DKC1. Like the way I rank the DKC games is a two, choose the best, three, and then one. But like one is still, in my opinion, a 10 out of 10 game, and we wouldn't have gotten two or three without one. So you gotta give credit where credit is due. But yeah, so like three as a speed game, especially back in the day, was like, you know, not only was it like considered like kind of like overlooked and always in DKC2's shadow, but like even as a speed game, like it was less interesting than 1 and 2 because it was a longer run and it also had less glitches and it also had Kitty Kong. Like I like Kitty Kong, but people definitely don't necessarily are fans of his design.
Hmm. I suppose that's fair. I mean, again, my knowledge is limited, so, and especially of three because it's three, not
Yeah.
talked about as much. So, but
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
what does that game bring to the table in a speedrun sense compared to the other games?
Um, I don't know if it was because it brought anything that I had interest in it. It was more like I guess trilogy, like really like the idea of doing
Mm,
trilogy runs was what drove me to really try out DKC3 and try to get good at it. And that's really like how it started and how it went. Basically, I just really wanted like a good DKC3 time so I could have like good trilogy times, and yeah, eventually I just like got hooked into it. But that was definitely like another game that like I started running, and I kind of started running it at the right time where like I got good, and then glitches started happening that kept the game fresh and interesting. And like there was a lot of routing. Like I mentioned untapped potential earlier when I was talking about 102%. Like DKC3 also had a lot of untapped potential because it was the least ran DKC at the time. Nowadays, like it does have a lot of runners, especially in Japan. Like a lot of Japanese DKC runners are specialized in DKC3 more so than DKC 1 or 2. I want to say. Although I guess DKC 2 also has a lot of Japanese runners, but definitely like it's definitely between DKC 2 and DKC 3. But yeah, like it was definitely like back in the day the least ran DKC, so there was there were a lot of routing opportunities to be done with that game, and that was another thing that kept it interesting, not only for me but for other runners.
yeah. And so what glitches are featured in that game?
So one glitch that came to be right around the time that SGQ 2016 was gonna be a thing was Bleak skip. So Bleak is the World 5 boss in that game, and you can do a frame perfect trick, once again, frame
Of
perfect,
course, yeah.
that skips the whole fight. And that saves a minute if you get it first
Mm,
try. But if you don't get it first try, then you have to like re enter the fight and then reattempt it. You only have one shot at it per fight because it essentially involves dying. And then as you die and the game is about to kick you back to the overworld, you want to press start on the fade out, the first fade out frame.
hmm,
And if you do that properly, then you get access to the next world. So it's
sure.
really weird how it works, but it does. And yeah, if you get it first try, you save a minute. And for World 5 is definitely like past the halfway point for that run. So like it was pretty frowned upon back in the day when it came to
Mm,
be, and like, oh, okay, it's a frame perfect trick. It doesn't really have a visual cue that you can go off of. Like, you know, some people were definitely frowning at the idea of like having bleak skip and like doing it, but like it saved so much time. And
mm-hmm.
also, it was only a glitch possible on the Japanese version,
Oh,
which is
okay.
interesting
Yeah.
because the Japanese version. So that's something that like I haven't mentioned yet today, but the DKC games are made by Rare, which is an English dev company, and that means that the Japanese games for DKC came out after the English games. So the
Mm,
fact that Bleak Skip is a glitch that exists only on the Japanese version, which came out after the English version, is definitely pretty peculiar.
yeah, I didn't think of that. That's definitely backwards from what you
Yeah,
usually hear. So,
yeah, you would
mm,
think that like they would patch more stuff in the Japanese version, but with DKC 3 more so than DKC 1 or 2, it seems that like the differences between the Japanese and the English versions are there are more of them. Like for whatever reason, there are just more small differences between DKC 3 Japanese and DKC 3 English.
Hmm.
And some of them are just like used to our advantage, like Bleak Skip, for example.
Yeah. So, did you say that skip was found like right before the race at GDQ?
Like not right before. I think it was like April, like March or April, maybe like May of 2016. And so, yeah, like we ended up doing like science and started including it in our runs. And uh, I was the guy during that race who ended up playing on the English version because I didn't care about Bleak Skip, and
Oh, I see.
Blonde Bunny ended up doing the Japanese version. So at the same time, like we wanted to do this like English versus Japanese kind of race to like really like showcase everything, that like all the differences and whatnot, and that was just like one of them. But yeah, that was definitely a thing that happened.
So, was the skip hit during the race?
Yep. He hit the
Oh,
skip, but he did not hit it first try. He hit it second try.
how much time does that lose not getting it first try?
So if you don't, so every subsequent attempt at Blake skip loses about like 14 or 15 seconds. So
Still a time
if you
save.
were to do Blake skip, like I think fourth try, you would break even with
Yeah.
just doing the fight normally.
I mean, second try is pretty good then in a live
Yeah,
live
for sure.
showcase.
Especially in a race,
Yeah.
and yeah, like that saved big time for him. Like he won the race, but yeah. You want like my track record in GDQ races is not very good, sadly.
Well, what can you do?
Yeah, I mean, it's, you know, at least I have the opportunity to be racing during the GDQ marathons, so that's always very cool.
Yeah, for sure. So, I guess we're in 2017 now. I'm trying to stay on the timeline here, but
Yeah, yeah,
you know, you would know it better than I. So, I guess what's the
yeah.
next big interesting thing to talk about?
2017, yeah. So that was the DKC trilogy race,
Yep.
and yeah, that kind of like laid the foundations for like other trilogy relays or like any kind of relay race that ended up happening like later, like in the later years afterwards for GDQ. So that was very cool. That was definitely a very cool experience to like have 9 very good DKC runners at the time racing the games. So yeah, definitely very dope, very awesome. Trying to think after that. So like I'm trying to like trying to remember when I started picking up games as speed games that were not DKC games, because like I do run quite a bit of games. Um, like I also run Yoshi's Island. I run Super Mario RPG, not only SMRPG remake, but I also run the OG. Probably around those times. Yoshi's Island was like a 2015, 2016 game for me.
Hmm.
SMRPG came later. Um yeah, I'm trying to think. Like 2017. Um Obviously, like, all throughout the years, there was a lot of, always me going back to going back and forth between like new speed games, and then going back to either like DKC 1, 2, or 3, depending on like my mood,
Hmm.
or depending on like whatever got discovered at the time and that I wanted to really improve PBs in. So there was a lot of juggling between the categories. And I want to say that like 2017, was it 2017 that like I talked about reverse boss order in DKC 1. That's probably like the maybe that was 2017, like the major breakthrough for that category. 2017 or 2016. Yeah,
What was
something
the
like
major
that.
breakthrough?
The So for reverse boss order, we were always missing a wrong warp that would send us to World 5. We could do everything else through the knowledge of like how to wrong warp in that game and like where it would send you, but we're missing like that one crucial piece. And one day there was a runner in the DKC community that was just messing around, and he was able to wrong warp to World 5, and then we tried to replicate that for like hours in a voice call. I remember that. That was a
Hmm.
fun time.
Just randomly warp to World 5?
Yeah, I mean, he was trying to like do a wrong warp, and he was trying to like wrong warp to World 5,
And it worked.
doing whatever BS he was working on, and he was able to. And but like when he told us that he got it, he was like, I don't remember how I did it, but I know it was there and with that setup. And we're like, okay, let's get to work, and we're able to do it.
And then reverse boss order was possible.
Yep, reverse boss order was possible. And I ended up submitting that for HDQ 2018, and it got in. I think it got in as a bonus run, in fact.
Ooh.
So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a big deal. Um, Something I know that happened in 2017, uh, although I don't know if you've tried to forget this or not, but there was a nice little television show that tried to air. Uh, you remember ESL Speedrunners?
Oh, yeah, I do. I do.
Because I know there was a DKC 2 episode, I believe,
Yeah, that was me.
specifically. Yeah, that was you, in fact.
Yeah, I had honestly forgotten about it.
Yeah, you know
Like,
what? I don't
I
blame
got,
you, so.
yeah, I think I never watched my episode, so
That's fair.
there you go. Yeah, I just had the opportunity. So I guess that must have been filmed in 2017 then, or maybe that
Mhm.
was filmed in 2016. Like, I honestly don't
Oh, really?
remember.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It aired
or
in
let me,
like later 2017.
you said it aired in late 2017.
Like August, September, I think. Like
Okay.
that time.
Okay. Well, it must have been in 2017 then. Like, yeah. Yeah, it must have been 2017. Yeah, I'm trying to like piece it together. But
Hmm.
yeah, I had the opportunity to get flown to Denmark to film for that, so that was pretty awesome.
Hmm. Yeah, it was a
Yep.
TV show that aired on Disney, one of the Disney channels. I believe it's Disney XD. They had like
Yep.
a little gaming segment type deal at some point, and yeah, they flew out speedrunners and did something or other. it
Yep.
it you know it existed.
Yeah, it's just like I understand what they were trying to go for with that, but like they also had no knowledge of anything.
No, not at
So
all.
yeah,
And
it was tough.
and when they
Like
didn't know something, they'd plagiarize. So
yeah, you know,
as
it's
you
just
do.
like they it was cool though. Like it was a cool opportunity to like get flown there and like recording that and like doing a run. Like the run that I ended up doing live there like was quite a good run for a no reset. Like you like
That's
their
good.
idea was like, okay, we're gonna like bring you and then you're gonna do one run, like, you know, no raw, no practice, and like you're gonna try to get a world record. And it's like, okay, that's not how speedrunning works. But you know, we'll entertain the idea. And then like, you know, I like I said, I never watched my episode, but a lot of people in my community did, and they
Mm.
reported to me after watching the episode that like, yeah, like they had no idea like how to make the timeline work, and like there was just like a bunch of wrong information in the video, and just like made it didn't really make sense overall. But it was, you know, it was still a good time. Like you said earlier, it existed.
It existed, yeah. Um,
It,
no, I find it very interesting because it aired like a week after I had first found out about speedrunning. So it's like, oh, look at that. So I'd look at it
oh,
just
okay,
to
yeah.
see what it was, and
Hmm.
yeah, I immediately recognized like yikes. And I was new, and I was still like, wow. I only watched one episode, Mario 1, of course, but yeah, I actually have all of the episodes saved onto my computer. I got them off
Oh, I'm sorry to
someone.
hear that.
Yeah, I know. No, what's funny is actually I was gonna like upload them to like Internet Archive because some of the episodes, including yours, maybe was considered lost media for a long time. But
Oh, really?
someone like last year, I don't. remember exactly when, but someone actually uploaded all the episodes to the Internet Archive, and now they're all there, including something that was like truly lost. Like, not even from the source I got them from. They didn't have like the final episode, but apparently, yeah, this person did, and now it's available. So, I mean,
Well,
I like preserving lost media, so shout outs to
yeah,
them, I guess.
yeah, kudos to that person for yeah preserving the ESL speedrunners history.
Preserving one of the shows of all time.
One of the shows of yeah, without a doubt, a really show.
Yeah, it really was a show that aired. But yeah,
Yep.
but still
I,
interesting
I I
history.
seriously had completely forgotten about it until you reminded me of that.
Yeah,
So
which is
thanks, I
funny.
guess.
Well, I mean, I don't know if that's a good thing to remind you, but I mean, you did get to fly all the way to another country for it. I mean, you don't
Yeah,
get
that
to
was
do
my
that a
first
lot.
time. That was my first time to Europe, so I was very excited about that. I didn't stay there for very long. I should have asked for an extra day, but I didn't want to be like ungrateful and be like, hey, like please pay me like an extra day's worth of hotel and accommodations and all that stuff. And it's like, nah,
It's
like I'm
Disney. Who
good.
cares? They're loaded.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. But yeah, like it's all like it's still a dream of mine to like travel to Europe and like tour Europe as a whole, like maybe stay there for like a month or two. So like just like flying there one time, if it only was for like 3 days, like hella jet lagged and whatnot, like the experience was still like very awesome and like made me crave for more.
Yeah,
So
you got a taste.
I did get a taste. So
Yeah.
looking forward to replicating the experience, minus the ESL show thing.
Of course, yeah. Truly a danker on the trip, I guess, or whatever. Anyway,
Yeah.
so yes, there's 2017. You did mention some other games like Yoshi's Island. So
Yep.
yeah,
Yoshi's
another Super
Island, Super Mario
Nintendo.
RPG.
Yeah, well, Yoshi's Island specifically, another Super Nintendo platformer, 2D, mostly side-scrolling action. So I
Hmm.
understand that, but
Yep.
RPG is very different. So
Yeah. So I never grew up with Mario RPG. I grew up with Paper Mario. Paper
okay.
Mario is my favorite N64 game. I did grow up with Yoshi's Island though, so like me speedrunning Yoshi's Island was like another game of my childhood that like I wanted to play and like get closer to the Yoshi speedrunning community, which at the time was almost like bigger than the Donkey community, which is interesting to think about. But yeah, SMRPG, it was really more like I knew those people in the community who ran Mario RPG. So like Lack Attack, Millennium, Albrecht, they ran SMRPG, and I just wanted to get. I just wanted to like that was kind of my awkward way to like meet those guys and like wanting to like befriend them in a way. So like I just picked up the game and like I just was like, hey, how you guys doing, kind of thing, and just like kind of like really get good at the game. But yeah, like because that was my thing back then. Like every game that I picked up, I just really wanted to like go hard in it. Like I wanted to like get good times in like a bunch of different games, and so yeah, that was like one thing. But like that was also like in a way my way to befriend those guys. So like they're still to this day like some of my good friends. So
Yeah, it's just yeah, very very different game. Like talk about like lots of RNG, not the same not 2D platforming at least, and then RPG elements. It's just very very
yep.
different, but
Hmm.
definitely a very cool speedrun though.
Yeah.
So very long
Low,
too.
low, low, low key preferred the remake to the OG, but
Mm,
like I have to acknowledge how good OG is. Otherwise, we never would have gotten the remake.
of course. But yeah, actually, so you've run both. Um,
Mhm.
how's the speedrun different between the two versions?
Oh, it's very different. Like, uh, well, First off, like SMRPG remake runs faster than OG. So like battle transitions and actions, like all of that happens faster. Text also is being shown on screen faster, and you also have like a ton of new battle mechanics, which are super helpful, and also like make combat like super different than OG SMRPG, and also like add in like a ton of new strats to the run. Like I. I kid you not, like the run is very different from OG SMRPG. Like OG SMRPG, you would use super jumping a lot throughout the run because it was like your fastest way of dealing damage, and also like really like the best way to maximize your DPS. But in remake, super jumping sucks actually. Like super
Hmm.
jumping is slower on remake than on OG, so you only end up super jumping one boss, and it's to acquire the items that you get through super jumping. After that, like you everything else you just like do regular attacks or just like other spells, because their animations are just so much faster than in OG. Like you end up saving time through that, and like it's just like a combination of faster everything else and slower super jumps, and that's just like one of the many ways that the run is different compared to OG.
Hmm. So with the super jump, I know the original, it's like, like a 3 frame window every jump, and you have to hit 100 of those. Like, what's the frame window in the remake?
It's the same. It's also
It
a
is the
3 frame
same.
window.
Okay, well,
Yep.
at least they're
The thing
consistent.
is, the visual cues are better. The visual cues are
Hmm.
better in remake, and also the rhythm of the super jumps, like I mentioned, like they're slower. Like it's it, the rhythm between jumps is slower on remake, so it makes it easier for like your I know, like shouts to Pidge. Pidge made a pretty good video on it, but like it helps your brain or and slash or your eyes to like adjust to the timing, and make it so that it's easier for you to get the 100 super jumps. So it's like a combination of that plus better visual cues. Because in OG, like you would go for super jumps on an enemy, and like you wouldn't land on the enemy's head. You would land on like the middle of the sprite, and then
Hmm.
it would just make like super not super, but it would just make like the visual cues kind of unreliable, and also like different for each enemy that you try to super jump on. So yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, I didn't think of that actually. Yeah, I just know there's like the big enemy in the SNES version, the like the ship area that you do it on.
Yep, that's
Uh,
that.
Johnny,
Jonathan
that's right.
Jones.
That's him.
He's still the guy that you super jump in remake, in fact.
Got it. You know what? It all works out then.
Yep. Truly a remake through and through.
But yeah, I guess fast forwarding here though, the remake will be the closer of this upcoming GDQ, and
Yeah, super excited about that.
I think I know the person running it.
Yeah, it may or may not be me.
Maybe, quite
Yep.
possibly.
Yeah, quite
So,
possibly me.
I assume you've never closed a GDQ, right?
Nope, that's gonna be my first time. It's not a it's not an honor bestowed to many people. So like, yeah, I definitely feel very honored and privileged
Yep.
to be able to do that.
Yeah. Ready for it?
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, I'll definitely put in the practice for that game, like probably come June. It's really not a game that I have a ton of difficulty derusting. Like yesterday, I did a derust run because later today I have a marathon run of this game,
Hmm.
and yeah, it's just like it's a very easy game for me to derust. So I really shouldn't have too much trouble picking it back up come June.
Well, cool. I mean, that'll be a good closer because it was like a newer Nintendo game. Nice
Hmm.
long RPG speed runs that they like to end on for whatever reason.
Yeah.
But this is a
I
good
was actually
choice.
surprised that like because you know that the second wave submissions for HDQ like they did not request SMRPG remake, and we were all wondering like why.
Mm,
Uh, but I guess like it was because the release date was just too close to the second wave submissions, and basically we were all like, okay, well, if they're not asking for SMRPG remake like this HDQ, then for sure it's gonna get in like at the next opportunity. And so yeah,
hmm
that's where we're at. That brings us to this GDQ, I guess.
Yep. And here it is as the
Mm-hmm. Yep.
closer. So sure, clearly they care about it. There it is.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
But yeah. Anyway, to go back to I don't know where are we 2018 now, I guess.
We were in 2018, yeah.
All right, so I guess what's next to talk about as we continue down the timeline?
Man.
I know there's a lot probably
Yeah,
to think
yeah.
about.
Honestly, from like 2018 to up to 2020, like there was just a lot of like bouncing between DKC games and attending GDQs and just like growing the stream.
hmm
And I guess like me becoming a full-time streamer started in early 2018 because
Mm,
like it was back then that I decided to like just quit my day job and go back to school. And I was like, okay, well, while I also uh do classes, then I might as well like put more focus into the stream. And so that's what I did. So I guess that was probably like the most notable thing on my end throughout those how many years is that? 3 years up until COVID. And then when COVID hit, there was I guess like the thing that was notable for me was the release of that DKC2 ROM hack called Unveiled, and I ended
mm.
up running that for HDQ 2021. I know I'm fast
It's all
forwarding a
right.
little bit here, but I that was probably like the one notable thing. But yeah, because the the ROM hacking community for the DKC games is not that big. Like it's really not as big as the Super Mario World ROM hacking community, for example.
Oh
Like
yeah,
that
of
one is
course.
like
Nothing's as big as that.
tremendous. Yeah, it's huge. Um, and also like DKCs are in general are kind of hard to ROM hack. Like they have a lot of jank. I guess
Mhm,
jank is the one way to describe it. So, like it's a lot of quirkiness to them, and it makes them like pretty tough to ROM hack. And so like a good DKC ROM hack hadn't really happened up until that one, and that one like was in the works since like I want to say 2016. Like I
mm,
like the talks of Unveiled uh being in development had like they had started like back in 2016, I want to say. And yeah, like when it came out we were all really excited about it, and it did deliver in a lot of ways. So that was really cool. And I kept saying to the developer of Unveil, I said that if he were to release it, then I would speedrun it and then submit it to a GDQ, and that's exactly what happened. Unfortunately, it was not in front of a live GDQ, but it was still at a
yeah.
GDQ.
Yeah, I mean, it's still got online audiences, They
Yeah.
still got a good amount of viewers for their online stuff, so it all
Yep.
worked out. But yeah, you don't hear a lot about ROM hacks for, less ROM hackable games, I guess. You hear about the big ones, but yeah, there's not a lot of stuff for those games, I'd say. So it's cool
Yeah.
to have like
Because
a
there are like a good amount of SMW ROM hacks, obviously,
oh
but there's
yeah.
also like a good amount of Super Metroid or Link to the Past ROM hacks. But like DKC ROM hacks, like the ones that existed back in like the before times, so like 2016, 2017 and before, like we're all pretty jank, pretty uh riddled with bugs and like like sometimes even untested and just like yeah, like just messes in general. Or like either that or just like, okay, you had half of a good ROM hack, you know, like maybe like 3 worlds that had like really good ideas and good levels, and then it was just vanilla, like almost like unfinished, you know, unfinished ROM hacks. But that's just like, it was just like another quirkiness of ROM hacking DKCs is that like editing the overworld is not as flexible as an SMW, for example, or
Mm-hmm.
like, you know, SMB3 or anything like that. It's just like very very hard to ROM hack those games.
Mm-hmm. So, did the ROM hack do anything that was like new or different or have its own like unique glitches aside from the original game?
Uh, There were a few things, yeah, but the dev definitely made it so that the glitches that we knew of in DKC2, like vanilla DKC2, were not going to be a factor, like
Hmm.
in his ROM hack. Like he really wanted to make sure that we wouldn't be able to glitch around, I guess, and really like break
Boo,
his levels.
boo. Yeah,
Yeah,
no, I get it.
I mean that's all like his right because it's his game,
Yeah,
but
no, I
yeah.
know. I'm messing around.
Mhm.
But yeah, I mean, it's cool to hear that other games can get like a cool ROM hack out of it, like that you don't
Yeah.
see a lot of that kind of development go through. So
Yeah,
it's cool.
and ever since that unveiled ROM hack happened, there have been other people in the community. Like I know at least 3 people who have been hard at work with ROM hacks of their own. I mean, I don't know if like they're still in development process with them, or if they've abandoned ship, but yeah, it's definitely like, it was definitely like a motivating factor for them to like try out ROM hacking of their own. And so I thought that was very cool. But yeah, it's just like it is an ordeal to try to ROM hack a DKC game, so
Hmm.
kudos to anyone who tries that. I did myself, and I think like I gave up after 3 levels, so
Yeah. So you said that got into HDQ 21, the online event, right?
yep, HGQ 2021.
Yeah, that's cool. So I think we last talked about the relays. So any other JDQ appearances between those two?
Yeah. So relay was 2017. 2018, I did the reverse boss order for DKC1. That was a
That's right.
bonus
Yeah,
game.
the
I
bonus
also
game.
did a DKC2 warpless race with Waffle. Shouts to Waffle.
Waffle
Um
42.
yeah, Waffle
Oh,
42.
yeah.
And then 2019, I did a DKC all stages run. And 2020, I did. Oh, 2020 was interesting. So DKC3 103% got in. We never expected
Hmm.
103% to get in because that's the longest main category. Like out of the 6 main categories, like say the any percents and the completion
Hmm.
runs, like out of those 6, that's the longest category, and also like the end of 103, like maybe the last like 6 or 7 minutes or so is just like a bunch of collectathoning and playing Simon Says with the mini games. And so it kind of makes for like an anticlimactic ending to a speed run, but at the same time, like there's just like a lot of cool stuff in that run that merits, like that deserves to be showcased. And so we're all surprised when it got in, but I was the backup runner for that run. So the main runner that was accepted was a Japanese runner by the name of Suimind, and he got accepted for 103, but unfortunately ended up not being able to make it to HDQ due to I think work reasons.
Hmm.
So I ended up being the runner for 103. So that was pretty exciting though, because I really like that category. And that was another one that I picked up back in the day. I don't exactly remember the timeline here, but I ended up picking it up because it was, I kept. I mentioned earlier that 103, not 103, but DKC3 was like the least interesting DKC game to speedrun, and also like the least popular. Like 103 was the least popular of everything in DKC. You know, like it
Mm-hmm.
was the
Yeah.
it was the least popular category of the least popular DKC speedrun, and it's just like, okay, like we have maybe like 5 or 6 times on the leaderboards, and there's just like a lot of room for optimizations, and that was also like that was just like the one thing that really interested me. And yeah, I just went on it like the same thing that I did with 102%, I just did with 103%. And it was just an awesome time, really, and it made me respect the category a lot more than I did at first. And like nowadays, like the category has just come so far. Same with 102%. Like all the DKC categories nowadays are just like super optimized. Like you really gotta go hard at them if you want to like compete with the top 5, top 10 times, like in any given category, really.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so that was 2020 AGDQ 2020, 103%. And then I mentioned I attended SGDQ 2019. That was like the two SGDQs that I attended were SGDQ 16 and SGDQ 19. I did not submit a game though at
Mm.
SGDQ 19. I just wanted to attend to like hang out. But yeah, so HGDQ 2020 was DKC 3103, and then HGDQ 21 was unveiled, the DKC 2 ROM hack, and then was it 2022 or 2023? I think I did a DKC 2 4-way race. I don't remember if it was 2022 or 2023 though. I would have to
Mm.
look it up, but yeah, that was another online GDQ.
So a four-person race of which game?
DKC 2, DKC 2 any
Too many
percent.
percent. Okay,
Yeah,
got it.
and that one
2022.
ended up being a nail biter at the end. I
Mm-hmm.
think like between me and the eventual winner, it was like a second. I think between us, like for the
Wow.
last like 5 minutes of the run or so. So that was pretty
Damn.
crazy. But
Yeah,
yeah, like because of my track record at GQ races is not very good, I ended up losing by 1 second. So
I see.
it
That's how
is
it
what it
goes.
is.
Something I haven't asked yet is how long are like the 100% category runs?
So yeah, so for DKC one, the 100% category is at world record level it's about 45 minutes.
Oh wow.
For 102, it's about an hour and 25 minutes, and for DKC three, it's an hour and 50 minutes.
Wow. They sure added a lot more content. Or you can't
Yeah,
skip as
yeah.
much of it, I guess, but that's
Yeah,
funny.
and it's interesting because if you compare like the any percent times, like the DKC one has the smallest delta between all stages and 101%. Like all stages was like at world record level like 30 to 32 minutes, so it's like only 15 extra minutes of content.
Hmm.
And like for DKC2, it's like DKC2's record right now is about it's around the 38-minute mark, so it would be like an extra 45 minutes of content. And for DKC3, it's like over an hour.
Wow.
So
Wow. Well, good on them for adding more stuff, I guess.
yeah, even though like I said, the end of 103% is really a lot of mini gaming and collectathoning, and it doesn't really have like any influence on any other DKC category or like any meaning really, but it's there. It's like just because they they could doesn't necessarily mean that they should have.
Yeah, that's fair. So, are there any other games that you've run that we haven't gone over?
I can like briefly go over them. I've dabbled into like over the years I've dabbled into Celeste,
Mm.
Hollow Knight. I've dabbled into the Mega Man X series, so like X1, X2, X4 and X5 are the ones that I've ran. Other games would be also Paper Mario. Like Paper Mario, my favorite N64 game. I ended up picking that one up. I ran the glitchless category, which is like almost 4 hours long.
Hmm.
Um, I also ran a few Pokemon games. I love Pokemon as a whole. Pokemon Gold is well, so Pokemon Silver is the one I grew up with, but Pokemon Gold is better for the speedrun, so that's the one that I ended up running. Same generation though, Generation 2. Ran that. Also run a few other Pokemon games, and I think that like, oh, actually no, that's not true. I also run Tropical Freeze, Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, the newest Donkey Kong Country game, except that it's 10 years old as of this year.
Oh God.
Yeah. That game
Yeah.
is awesome though. Like it was a Wii U game that got a Switch release in 2018, but turns out that the Switch release added two things. The first thing was funky mode, which is the fastest way of playing the game, and the second thing, it was consistent load times. So the Wii U version did not have that, so it was like very awkward to time, and also like just didn't really make sense leaderboards wise. So the fact that like load times are very consistent on Switch definitely like made the game more popular as a speed game on top of funky mode.
New funky mode. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, I'm glad it made it a lot more convenient to run. Because,
Hmm.
let's just forget the Wii U ever happened. Thank God they're putting all the good games on Switch. Oof.
Yeah, exactly. They're releasing all of the good Wii U games on Switch, which is nice.
Hmm. But
I don't
yeah,
know if we're missing any at this point.
yeah, not that I can think of off the top of my head, but
Hmm.
yeah, I didn't think about that. Yeah, there's the original trilogy, and then yeah, they did Returns and then Tropical Freeze. So, have you done Returns at all then?
I have not done returns yet.
I
I would
see.
be interested in doing returns, if only for the fact that, it would look good on my speedrun resume to be like, oh, like I've ran all 5 DKC games. Like, I think that would be like a pretty neat fact.
Yeah, you could do the Quintrilogy. I don't know if that's the word for it, but
Uh, Pentalogy, I think.
Penta. Oh yeah, Penta.
Penta. I
Yeah,
don't
it's
know.
not. It's not
Yeah,
like
but
quintuple.
I would love to do that. Yeah, that would be pretty dope. What's the other thing though? Oh yeah, another game that I ran and that I did not mention is Link to the Past.
Yeah.
Very very briefly. Well, I say briefly. I did put like a good amount of time into that game, but like I guess I try to forget about it. I don't know.
Oh, okay. Rip. Yeah, I mean that's a lot of other games.
Yeah, and like there are also games that like I tried running and that I never like really finished running, like Super Metroid, for example. Like I tried running that game. Uh, I think I learned the whole route at some point, like the whole crate first route, and just never ended up finishing a run because like the one run that I tried died to fan tune, and I was like, okay, I'm done. And I think like Final Fantasy VI was another game that I had interest in that I just couldn't really wrap my head around the battle mechanics because once again RPG, and I'm definitely more of a platformer guy. I do like me an RPG from time to time, but it kind of has to be like an off, I guess like offbeat RPG a little bit, like the Paper Mario's and the SMRPGs, for example. Like they have those platforming elements to them. Like traditional RPGs, I like them, but I definitely need to be like in the right mindset to play them and enjoy them.
Hmm.
Like it's been a long time. I'm trying to remember like the last traditional RPG that I played, and it might have been like I did my first playthrough of Final Fantasy IV like a few years ago, and that legit might have been the last one that I did, maybe like 2021 or something, and I don't even think I finished it, like
Yeah. I mean, RPGs are long, so.
yeah, that too. Like the Final Fantasy VI category I was interested in was like freaking like almost 4 hours long, I think.
Mm,
So if not longer than that, I don't even remember at this point. But yeah, it was probably for the best that I ended up dropping it.
yeah. Sometimes you gotta test it out to know for sure, and that's like, yeah, no, and that's
Yeah,
fine.
exactly. Yeah. Like, and I had interest in that because I was watching other, like, there were other people in the community that I knew of that ran FF6, and I would watch them run FF6, and I'd be interested in that. Like, I thought it made for a pretty cool run overall, and also like I really liked that game casually. So yeah.
Hmm. So, I kind of want to touch on uh world records because world records are cool.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, I'm sure you've held
World's
many.
records.
I'm sure you've held many in DKC 1, 2, 3. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I never had a record for DKC 3 any percent. Like
Hmm.
out of the main categories of the DKC games, three is the only one I never had. Three any percent is the only one I never had. I had
Mm.
103% at some point.
Hmm. So just got to get that last one to complete the everything.
Well, it's probably not gonna happen anymore,
No, that's
but you
that's
know,
no. I'm missing anyway.
yeah,
That's fine.
yeah, I know, I know.
But
It
yeah.
would have been neat though if I'd gotten it earlier in my illustrious speedrun career. Then it would
Yeah.
have been like a nice little thing to put on my resume once again. You know, missed the
Yeah.
boat on it, unfortunately.
Oh well. So does that mean you've had the record in like every main category of every other game?
At
Or
one point in time, yeah,
yeah. Yeah,
yeah,
obviously it
no,
doesn't have to be at the same time, but
yeah. That there was a time where I think at my peak I had like one all stages, two any percent, two 102%, and three 103%.
wow.
So I was kind of out there when you think about it. Like looking back, I'm like, damn, like it really wouldn't be possible to do that nowadays because like all the times are just so optimized, and like it would take a lot of grinding for each of those categories to just like reclaim record in, and then like after that you would just like switch your focus to another category, and then someone comes in and then like beats your record that you just got, and it's like, okay, like what's the point, I guess.
Yeah, the community will
it's
always try to stop you from having a streak going.
yeah. Like to me it at some point like it stopped being about holding them. It just like became, okay, I had them, you
Yeah.
know, I had them, and like I need to be proud of that fact.
Yeah, that's all that really matters is just
Hmm.
being part of the community and the history of a speedrun, really.
Yeah, exactly. That's definitely another awesome point.
Hmm. Yeah. But were there any other games that you got like to a top level in out of the collection of things you talked about?
Yes, like Yoshi's Island and SMRPG OG. I've gotten like top 5 in those games.
Mm.
Pokemon Gold, I've gotten top 10. Like
Hmm.
I've 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 definitely like tried to, like I was saying earlier, like go as hard as I can in like all of the speed games that I've ran.
Sounds like it,
Sorry.
all right.
Yeah. Some games like I've put less time into, like Hollow Knight and Celeste, never really like got to the highest levels in those games. And SMRPG remake would be like the one recently that like I have record in and I still have record in. I guess Unveiled also. Unveiled I have record in both 90% and 102%. But Unveiled is also a ROM hack, and it's like a really hard DKC2 ROM hack. So not a lot of people run that game. Like I think the 90% leaderboards, for example, only have 5 people. So
Yeah. I mean, that's most ROM hacks.
yeah. And also like the difficulty of the game makes it like
Hmm.
very tough to get into, understandably so.
Yeah, and I feel like it's a little rarer of a skill set to be good at DKC over other games that would have similar, like, harder hacks. So,
Uh-huh.
yeah, not a ton of overlap. I can understand.
Yep. but yeah, like I still have some records to this day, but a lot of the ones that I had in like the main DKC categories, DKC 1, 2, and 3, for example, like they got those got outclassed, but that's perfectly okay. Perfectly okay with that outcome.
Yeah, I mean, that's how it goes.
That's the way she goes. Yep.
That is the way. But yeah, I guess what are you doing nowadays?
What am I doing nowadays? Yeah, so right now I'm like kind of on a quest to not reclaim records or anything, but like at least improve a lot of my PBs from DKC one.
Mm.
For whatever reason, like DKC one is like I would say it's probably like the one game in the DKC trilogy that I run that I've like, I guess maybe not neglected, but like overlooked the most in like recent years, and like a lot of new strats and just like new movement has been discovered and optimized, and I'm kind of like in the process of updating a lot of my PBs that don't have those strats. And right now I've updated one of the categories to the time that I wanted, and I'm working on two more. I'm working on 90%, and I'm working on no major skips. And after that, I'll be working on the reverse boss order in all stages. Like once I updated those five DKC categories, like the PBs for those categories, then I'll move on to something else. To what I don't know yet. Like there are a couple games that I'm thinking of that I could learn as new speed games. Like I mentioned Returns earlier. Another one is actually that's another thing that I haven't touched on. The GBA ports
Oh
of
yeah,
DKC. Yeah,
those things.
I've uh, I've ran 1 and 2, and I've ran them last year. Actually, I picked them up last year. Um, Ended up getting like third place. Third, was it second or third? I don't even remember. But I got like third, I think, in DKC one, and I got record in DKC two GBA.
Hmm.
So that was pretty cool. And I meant to pick up DKC three GBA to complete the GBA trilogy. But I haven't done that yet. I think I got distracted by something else, like another speed project. Like you probably know how it goes. Like you wanna you wanna like achieve something in a speed game, and then you get distracted by something else, and then you end up doing that something else, and then like that sucks you in for like a couple months or whatever.
Yeah.
That happened to me a lot over the years, but yeah, 3 GBA is on the map. Other than that, like just like trying to enjoy my time streaming, and trying to do more casual playthroughs. That's always a thing that I've tried to do over the years, trying to do like more casual playthroughs on stream, because like if I'm not streaming, like I don't really do a lot of gaming. Like I kind of get
Hmm.
my gamer needs through my stream, and then like after I cut stream, I'm like, okay, like I should do other stuff to like really like be productive with my life and like with my goals. And so I really try to like the games that I want to play, I play them on stream, because like combining the fun stuff with the paycheck, I guess, in a way. So yeah, just like more casual stuff. Like I have a whole list of casual games that I would like to get through this year. So that'd be cool. And other than that, like that's pretty much sums it up as far as the gamer plans for me.
So have you were saying the games on GBA, right? Game Boy
Yeah,
Advance?
GBA.
I don't think I knew of Donkey Kong game like DKC games on there. Are they just like
Oh,
port to the
really? So
SNES?
I taught you something.
I guess.
Yeah.
Are they just port
Well,
to
I
the
mean,
SNES or
the
like?
same way they ported the Mario games on GBA, they did that for DKC too.
Oh, you mean like the Advance series?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Yeah.
I see. Yeah, I didn't know
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. So it's like their ports, they're not exactly one-to-one ports, but
Of
like
course,
they're
yeah.
close enough to the original that like, they are DKC games through and through, but
Mm-hmm.
they do feel completely different. Like the physics are different, the movement is different. It's just like they play pretty differently from SNES DKC. So
Mm-hmm.
it was when I picked up DKC one. I started with DKC one GBA when I was trying to like work my way through them, and like it was kind of like a frustrating learning experience because of how different and how clunky the movement felt in DKC GBA. But I made it through somehow.
Mm-hmm. So, have you tried the Game Boy games? They're Donkey Kong Land? Is that what they call
Yeah,
it
the
on there?
Donkey Kong Land series. So I've played Land 1 as a kid, and I think it's probably like a top 10 hardest games I've ever played.
Oh, really?
Like unironically, like that game is pretty tough and also very jank. But I
Mm-hmm.
digress. My I could potentially run those games in the near future, but they're like pretty low priority right now. Same with like the Game Boy Color port of DKC. Like that one is even lower than the land games to be TBH, but it's there, I guess. You know.
So they have like a DKC-esque game on GB, GBC, and GBA?
That there's a thing actually that exists where you do the Land trilogy, the GBA trilogy, the SNES trilogy, and DKC GBC, and you do all of those 10 runs in the same sitting. We call that the decalogy,
Mm.
and there's actually like a good amount of people who have runs of the decalogy, but it's like obviously like a 20-hour run or something.
Oh
I
my
mean,
god.
yeah,
Any
I think
percent?
yeah, all any
Oh
percent.
my god.
Yeah.
Oh.
I guess, like I say, it's a 20-hour run. I think like, it was a 20-hour run back in the day with like very minimal practice across like all games. Like I think if you know all of them, like in a decent speedrun setting, like uh, I'm pretty sure like you would get like less than half of that time. Let me check actually if the decalogy is on speedrun.com
Yeah.
real quick.
Yeah, that's interesting. You don't think there's that many games, and that's not even like including the new games.
Yeah, exactly. That doesn't include returns or tropical freeze.
Hmm. Didn't realize there were so
Um,
many countries, even though like most of them are
so
just
many
like
countries.
ports. There's so many countries.
Yup.
But
Oh
yeah.
God. What's his name on Speedrun.com? Okay, just give me a second. I'm trying. I know what I'm looking for, but I need to like find the profile of that person. Okay, I have his profile. I don't know if like it is on Speedrun.com. Yeah, okay. Multiple Donkey Kong games, Decalogy. Okay, so that person, shout outs to them. Mozzarella cheese.
Hmm.
And they have a record for the Decalogy, and it's a 7 hour and 52-minute long run.
Okay, that's far shorter.
Yeah, far shorter, but I'm pretty sure. Yeah, okay. So like the longest run is 21 hours, but that was most likely done with very little practice on some of those games. So
Okay.
like when you get into an infinite and like say a land 3, the DKL 3, then it's like okay, if that game takes you like 2 or 3 hours, then that's like
Hmm.
it it accumulates over the course of 10 games.
Yeah, I can understand that. Yeah, 7 actually sounds like really good time, but I don't know
Yeah,
how
yeah,
long some of the other games
like
are.
that mozzarella cheese. Yeah, he unironically learned all 10 games
Hmm.
because he won. Like his final goal was to have like a decent to good decalogy run. So
Hmm.
he's also like very used to running long speedrun categories. Like he not only runs DKC, but he also runs like the Pokemon Mystery Dungeon games, and he has like a bunch of really good PMD runs. Some of which are like very very long runs. Like I think the last time I read his stream, he was doing a PMD run that was like at least a 20-hour long run, and it's
Oh
like
my god.
okay, like he he's just about that life. Like he's built different in that
Hmm.
regard. But
Yeah, I
yeah,
couldn't.
he really like went ahead and learned all 10 games of the DKC decalogy.
Yeah, I mean, definitely impressive.
Mm.
That's a lot of work, especially since it's just like ports of the same game over and over again. Although they all, I'm
Yeah,
sure, play
exactly.
differently because of the different hardware and stuff.
Hmm. Like at some point, your muscle memory gets jumbled up
But
between
yeah,
like
I can't imagine.
all those 10 games.
Like I'm seeing the same level 3 times, but it plays differently in all of them.
Yup.
Everything's messed up now. Yeah, that's cool. Um, Something I'm just curious about. What's with the black and white face cam?
Oh yeah, that's just okay. So there's good lore behind that.
Okay, that's what I'm here
I'm,
for.
I'm not in black and white right now because Discord, but yeah.
Of course.
So I mentioned my man Blonde Bunny earlier today. So Blonde Bunny usually streams without webcam, but there was one day in God, was it 2016? Yeah, it must have been 2016 because when I started using cam, I was doing color cam. Yeah, there was a day in 2016 where I saw him use webcam for a stream, and he had the black and white,
Hmm.
and I thought that looked cool, and so I was like, you know what, let me try that on my stream the next day, and I just stuck with it ever since because I think it looks good.
All right, well, there's the lore. I
There's
finally
the lore,
know.
yeah. I like to like mess around with my people and tell them, yeah, the cam is black and white because I'm black and white IRL, blah blah blah, and
Mm,
like
I see.
you need to like pay me if you want to see me in color and stuff like that. But yeah, it's just
Channel
like
point redemption for color.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Well, usually I say like if you give me enough bits, then I turn the color on. But yeah, it's just a fun thing, and it's part of the stream lore.
100 bits per second of color.
Usually it's like 10,000 in one
I see.
donation, and I say, okay, I turn color cam on for the rest of the stream.
All right, fair enough.
Yeah,
That
because
sounds
that's
worth it.
another thing. Because like I used to have back in the day, like people who would come in. I mean, I still do nowadays, but maybe a bit less frequently. But like back in the day, I would have people come in and like ask me, "Hey, are you gonna like play this game?" Or like, "Hey, when are you gonna play this game?" Blah blah blah. And it's like I'm playing say DKC 1, and then they ask me like, "When are you gonna play DKC 2?" Or like, when are you gonna play X casual game or whatever? And I would always say like, if you, for the low price of 10,000 bits in one donation, I'll do it. It's like,
Mm,
it's I kind of like tease them in that way. That's how it started. Like it was like a kind of a tease. Like okay, it's high enough that like it would desist the people who like are actually just trolls, but like also low enough that like the people who are actually enticed and like dropping the bits and supporting the stream can do that, and it's just like it also is a thing that stuck around.
gotta love those unique stream elements, I guess.
Yeah, the stream lore.
The stream lore. It's what we gotta learn. But yeah, is there anything important in your speedrunning career that haven't touched on yet?
That's what I'm trying to think. I feel like we've probably covered most of it, if not all of it. There's just been a lot of things
Yeah.
that happened in like those 10, 11 years. I had a stream. Was it earlier? No, it was last year. I think I did a stream that was basically celebrating like 10 years of speedrunning, and so that was really cool. I would just like go over my all of my speed games and like rank them, tier list them, and yeah, that was just a cool piece of content that I did. So now it's like okay, now I'm on year 11, and next year will be like 10 years of Twitch streaming because 2015 March 25th yeah, March 2015 was my first stream, so March 2025 will be the 10-year anniversary of me streaming on Twitch. So yeah, just old old stuff all around, I guess.
Old and crippled. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's how it
old and
goes.
jaded.
Yeah. fading away.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how it goes, though, I guess. And like, what is it? Well, I know people that stream that are like in their 40s, and even that's not that old. It's just funny how the perception is with like being old in speedrun years. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. Being old in speedrun years. Like I know there's actually someone in my community who's younger than me, but I feel like he's been around for like longer than me. Like I feel like he's been around in like the SDA days because he
ooh,
still like
yeah.
lurks in those forums from time to time. And like I never was part of the SDA forums really. I knew of them, but I never was involved in them.
People
So
still use that site?
probably just like for like research purposes,
Yeah, I was gonna
like
say it's important for historical reasons, but
yeah, yeah, yeah.
can't imagine.
Otherwise, like I don't think anybody uses that website anymore. Yeah.
All right. Just funny how much stemmed from that site.
Hmm.
GDQ started from there, and then that was like the official place to host speedruns until speedrun.com came through. So,
Yeah, yeah. It was like SDA and then SRL and then like yeah,
yeah, sorry.
speedrun.com came to be much later.
Mm-hmm.
I say much later. I don't exactly remember which year speedrun.com came to be, but it's definitely been around for a while at this point.
Yeah, almost a decade at least,
Yeah.
getting there. But it definitely existed when I started, but
Mhm.
maybe not for that long. I don't know. But yeah,
It did not exist when I started because I
oh
remember
really?
I remember like when Speedrun.com came to be, like there was this big thing in the DKC community where like the DKC runners at the time did not want to migrate to Speedrun.com because we had our leaderboards on the DKC wiki,
Mm,
and yeah, that that became like a recurring topic of debate slash discussion over the years. Like I'm pretty sure like at some point it was like a yearly occurrence where like oh, okay, it's like speedrun.com migration debate of migration season or whatever. And at some point it was just annoying for all parties involved, so the people who like the people who wanted to migrate wanted it more than the people who did not want to migrate. The people who did not want to migrate, they were like, okay, well, just like whatever, like migrate if you want, but like I don't want to have my times on the leaderboards. And that's just that's it basically ended there.
mm,
And yeah, like the migration ended up happening, but it was definitely like a recurring thing over several years that like every single year we would discuss, okay, is it like do we do the migration, like are people actually interested in the migration, or do we just abandon ship on that and stay on the wiki, you know?
mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess I wouldn't have known what migrating to the site would be like. I know some games still just aren't there, which is interesting. Obviously, there's nothing
Yeah.
wrong with it. It's just interesting given like how many people use that site on a daily basis. It'd be a lot better for just the community at this point, just because just everyone uses it. But
Yeah, it's just more exposure
mhm.
basically,
Yeah,
even though it's well how could I say it, it like it basically is nothing short of a library, like nothing short of like a place to document and like preserve speedruns, or like I
mhm.
guess redirect speedrun, like redirect people to like watching speedruns in a way.
Yeah, yeah. There's a lot of places to find that content there with the runs, and they have something on the live channel. They like show live streams if your category is correct. Like, yeah, it's a good
Hmm.
like centralized hub. So,
Yeah, yeah, that's a good way to put it.
mhm. I am happy it exists overall, even though it's definitely had some issues. But no, it does what it does.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, there was a reason why the DKC community back then did not want the migration to happen, but it ended up
Mhm.
happening eventually. So, like, not now we're here. So,
Yeah, I don't know what the site was like when it started, so I can't speak on that. But I'm
mm,
sure it's a lot better nowadays in comparison. So,
well, I think the site is completely fine as long as you use an ad block. If you don't use an ad
Yeah,
block,
that
then
yeah, well,
good luck.
I forget about that because yeah, I do use one. So I'm like, oh yeah, that's
Yeah,
right. The
exactly.
site's full of fucking ads now.
Yup, yup.
I remember getting an ad for like what was it? I think I got an ad for like vaping or something. I was like, okay, which isn't that bad, but there was also like one for like a cheat engine. And it's like this is speedrunning leaderboards, man. what
Mm,
what am I
interesting.
uh but anyway,
Well, you
that
know,
was years
there are
ago.
cheaters out there.
There are.
Certainly.
But yeah, that was years ago, like 3 years ago, so
Oh, okay, fair.
hopefully ad management is better. I wouldn't know. Ad block user, so who knows,
Yeah.
but yeah. Anyway, yeah, I mean, I think I asked everything I want to, so and it sounds like we covered most of everything, so I mean,
Yeah, I think we
if there's
did.
any, yeah, if you're satisfied, I'm satisfied. So,
Well, I'm satisfied if you're satisfied.
well, doesn't that work out nicely? But yeah,
Yeah, right.
if there's any chat questions though, please feel free to ask. But yeah, as we're waiting for that, if there are any questions as we're waiting, you can self promote, I suppose.
Self promote, yeah.
Yeah,
Shill my stuff.
of
Well,
course.
I feel like I've already like said everything about like what I do and like who I am and where you can find me. Twitch.tv/void with the zero between the V and the O. I'm on Twitter as well. Twitter.com/void. My YouTube.com/@void. And yeah, I just do the old streaming thing, speedrunning thing. Like I was saying earlier, I am not limited to speedrunning in what I stream, but I do stream a lot of speedruns. I enjoy it. Eventually, there will be more casual stuff once I'm done with my current speedrun goals. But at the moment, currently focusing on DKC 1, and obviously I'll be focusing on SMRPG remake in the upcoming months since I'll be closing SGQ 2024. So very excited about that actually.
Mm-hmm.
Looking forward to it. Looking forward to SGQ as a whole. I really liked AGDQ 2024. First event I attended since pre-COVID. In fact, AGDQ 2020 was my last one before that, and like 2020 was still like I think my favorite GDQ overall, but like AGDQ 2024 definitely felt like a resurgence of sorts. So I was happy with like how the event went and everything else about it. That was very cool. So that definitely made me like I wasn't really planning on attending this SGDQ. Like I thought about making AGQ 2024 my last GDQ, but because of how AGQ 2024 went, that made me excited to attend more GDQs. So now we're here, and now we're gonna be attending SGQ and closing the event with SMRPG remakes. So yeah, very sick how it all panned out. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, thanks for having me,
Yeah.
gamer GTAs. That was a lot of fun. Always like chatting about the speed stuff and what have you.
Yeah. I mean, I enjoy listening to people's stories. Why I do it. I've been doing it for many episodes now.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
just
that's
lose
what you
count
were
at this
saying
point.
before we went live. Actually,
Yeah, it's crazy how many episodes I've done and how many episodes I like would still be interested in doing. Like there's just so many people to talk to about this hobby. It's never
yep.
ending really. So just
Yeah, exactly. Like
infinite
the
content machine.
you will never run short of speedrunners to interview.
It's true. I mean, there's so many talented people out there, just thousands and thousands. It's crazy. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, thanks for coming on and talking about your history with the hobby. And yeah, I'm excited to see the closing to GDQ. AGDQ, last AGDQ was really good. So it makes me really excited for this SGDQ. So, And the games
Yeah,
list is really good, so
yeah, very stoked about the games list as well. I was pleasantly surprised after looking at it and seeing everything that I saw. I was not expecting like half of the games that I saw that I was like, oh, like I'm definitely interested by that. You know.
yeah. I didn't expect to get in again. I don't know what's going on. I think
Yeah, congrats,
that's
gamer.
3 in a row. What's going on here,
Ah,
man?
that's a hot streak. Yeah.
It is a hot streak. I don't know what I did to deserve it, but I'll take it, I guess. But
Well, you've been a gamer, and that's
I
really all you
have
need to be.
gamed, I guess.
You have gamed. Yep.
That's all it takes. Damn.
Exactly.
All right, well, yeah, thanks again for coming on, and yeah, thanks for everyone for watching. You can, watch these interviews live every week or watch them when they come out on YouTube. This will be uploaded shortly once I get it up there and processing's done and all that fun stuff. So if you missed
Mm-hmm.
anything, watch it there. Watch all the previous episodes, and yeah, uh, links to all my stuff are available, and links to all your stuff will be available in the YouTube description and on stream. So there we go. I guess
Heck
we'll
yeah.
call it there. So yeah, thanks again, everyone, and take care. Bye bye.
Thanks, gamers.
Yep,
Rolling
thanks.
out.
Rolling out.